Check 1, 2. All right, how's it going? So I'm gonna give you a quick rundown on how to set this Tycoon system device up. So the very first thing, which we already got set up in your level, but got to make sure that the start income loop trigger is hooked up because that's what's gonna make sure that the income loop is running for each player. They have to step on that in order to get any income of any kind. So then when we set up a purchase, we just go into the purchasables here. We can add a new one in. So basically the way that it works is it needs a purchase button or a purchase trigger, one or the other. And so that's why these ones are not optionals. The rest of these are actually optional. So anything that says set to value here, that's going to be optional. You don't have to set those. Okay. So basically, you have to have a purchase trigger. So let's go ahead and just duplicate this trigger I've got here. And we're going to say this is my new purchase trigger. So we're going to come here, go to this one, and we're going to say this is the purchase trigger that we want to use. And the name of this is going to be linked to if we want to have it unlock according to another unlock, like you can chain the unlocks together. For example, the emerald income only unlocks after the ruby income has been unlocked, and the diamonds only unlock after the emeralds. So you can chain those together based on the name, or you can just make the name here for readability. So let's just say that I'm going to make a heavy turret. Okay. So the heavy turret, you can decide what kind of currency you want it to cost. We'll just go with cash for now. Then you decide what you want it to cost. So we'll go with 150 just for testing purposes here. And then this is where you decide what the effect is going to be. So if you want to activate for instance, the way that I did this turret here, and the way that I'll show you here, we'll go ahead and drag in a heavy turret. Okay. So now we're going to want to make sure that it's not enabled to start. Okay, so we'll go to the turret, we'll go enabled during phase none, but we will set it to enable when a trigger is activated. So this trigger that's underneath here, oh wait, dude, what is this one? Activate heavy trigger. Oh, I already have one here. I was already testing this. Okay, so we'll go ahead and put a turret here, activate heavy turret, and on the heavy turret here, we'll set it to enable when the activate heavy turret trigger is triggered. Okay, so now we just have to plug the activation trigger in here. So since we want this to use a trigger device after purchase is made, we'll set use trigger device, and then we can set the optional to the activation trigger. So the purchase is the one that runs the check to see if they have the amount of currency they need and creates and makes the purchase. And the device that's activated is one of these optionals here. So now we have these other options like one-time purchase. If we check this, then the trigger will be deactivated. The purchase trigger or button will be deactivated after the purchase, and the billboard will be hidden. So if we want to have a associated billboard, like I'm just going to duplicate this one, and we can just say that this is going to be heavy turret. What did I say it was? 150 or something? 150. And I'll change this to green since it's going to be cash. Okay, so we can set the billboard up. And now, since this is a one-time purchase, that billboard will be hidden as soon as we make the purchase. The text on it will be. We can also set purchase visual effects up. So, device, VFX spawner. Okay, so this is where we are going to use our custom buy zone. So this is set up. And that's the same. If this is set up and it's a one-time purchase, those purchase VFX will be disabled. Let's see here. So, okay, so, and that's all you need to set a purchasable is just one of the optional effects here. You see, we only used one trigger device. So if it's a currency upgrade, you can set the currency upgrade and set the type of currency you want to upgrade and then the amount that it will be upgraded by. So you can purchase a currency upgrade. You can use a tagged device. So in the instance that you can't, don't want to use a trigger and you would rather use a tagged device, there are some instances where you want to get a hold of this creative device directly by tag. So in that case, you would go to the device, you would add a verse markup tag and the device tag you wanted to use. In this case, it's device tag 1. And you can actually set the vending machine up here. You see it uses tag device tag 1. So that's just another optional way of having an outcome after the purchase. Then you can also use a prop manipulator. You can see here I've used the prop manipulator set to show these props for the floating platforms. The prop manipulator. You can use a cinematic device. I use this cinematic device with this show house level sequence in order to show the house that you purchase with the diamonds here on that setup. So you can output it to a cinematic device and you can also chain these together. So in the case that you want, I'll just show you real quick here. So basically when you start Ruby's income, you want it to also unlock the Emerald's income start, right? So you set the name of the purchase that you want to unlock in the unlock purchase names here. And then in those unlockables, you don't want those enabled at the start of the game, right? You want those to be enabled according to another purchase. So you want to unlock, or uncheck enabled at start. And so now Emerald income here, you can see start Emerald's income will be disabled at the start. But when we enable Ruby's income or when we purchase Ruby's income, suddenly Emerald's income will be enabled. So that's how we can chain these together. So I'm just going to go ahead and push changes. I'll pause real quick so you don't have to wait 30 minutes while I push these changes so that we can get this heavy turret tested. Let's make sure it's all set up as well. Trigger on activated. It is enabled during phase none, but it does respawn when enabled and it's visible. So let's go ahead and push these changes. Okay, so here we are. We're back in, and you can see we've got our heavy turret setup set here. 150, so we're going to go ahead and start our income. Go ahead and just hurry up and go upgrade the income so we get enough here. Oh, and you can see, oh, didn't have enough there on the first try, but on the second try we've got enough, and there it is. Visual effects, the billboard goes away, and now we've got our heavy turret. Pretty sweet. And then here's an example of those chained, see, these are not enabled, they don't do anything right now when you trigger them, but once we start the Ruby's income, you can see now we can start Emerald's income. Ruby's income was set to be a one-time purchase, so we can't trigger this anymore. but you can see Emerald's income is not set that way, so the billboard hasn't disappeared. We can still trigger this multiple times if we want, and it's going to actually update our Emerald's income each time we do that, because this is actually a currency upgrade that we're purchasing right here each time. So the first time you purchase a currency upgrade, it actually sets up that currency. It enables that currency in your income loop, and then on uh, the times after, it's going to upgrade that currency for you. The only other thing I forgot to mention is that you can also set it up with an item granter here. You can see that this is going to cost 100 cash for each time I want to buy some armored walls, and that's actually coming through the item granter option here on the Tycoon system device. So that's the basic setup here. And I apologize if this was confusing and for any kind of additional info, but thank you so much for taking the time, and I hope you enjoy this device.